So good evening, all of you all. Real pleasure introducing dear Abhishek Malaya. So right from day one, we have been talking about zero-based budgeting. I think we started talking about this somewhere in April, May, saying all of you all should do zero-based budgeting. If you remember my slide, I had kept saying that. So since I'm in Cochin now, I had the pleasure of meeting dear Abhishek. And then we were having a chat, and I realized he has applied it. Okay, along with, of course, the senior management of Novelty Textiles. Abhishek ji started his career as finance manager. Then he worked with Ernst& Young. His basic specialty is risk advisory and internal control engagements. Currently, dear Abhishek is with Novelty Clothing, which is the largest textile and garment wholesaler in Kerala. As I kept saying, but very good in the field of financial management and internal controls, inspection and audit. So that is what is keeping Novelty Textiles going in these challenging times. Right. So we can't do much about sales beyond a point because sentiment is not very good. But we can do definitely something about the cost. So that was the idea of this session. Thank you again, dear Abhishek. At very short notice, you agreed. Over to you, my friend.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Good evening to all. Today, I'm really excited. This is the first time I'm addressing people from professional and business fraternity at the same time to talk about a topic. I'm really honored and grateful to Anil sir for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much, sir. I'm really grateful to you.
Pleasure, my friend. God bless.
Since Anil sir has actually introduced my background to you, I'll switch to the real topic today. If you don't mind, with all your permissions, I would like to start today's discussion.
Yes, please.
Like Anil sir said, when we met in Cochin, he asked me whether I can take a session on a zero-based budget. I was very quick to respond, and I said to him that, sure, sir, I will do it. Since I have very basic knowledge of ZBB and I've applied it in my organizations with the help of my senior management. I'm not saying that I'm a guru on zero-based budget, but I have a very basic knowledge and some practical experiences which I would like to share with you on the topic of zero-based budgeting, and which I have applied in my organization to some extent where there were areas of concerns. So let's start by describing what zero-based budget is. The name itself specifies zero-based budget when you start developing a budget for a period.
Abhishek, sir, I'm sorry to interrupt. I just saw, you can see what Shanti ma'am has written. Is it okay if you can share your video? I have switched off because I don't want to block your view. So if you can share your video, I think.
Sure. Just a second.
That's what Shanti ma'am is saying.
Is it
perfect?
Can you see me? Perfect. Okay, sir. Okay.
Yes, perfect.
Yeah. So zero-based budget, the name itself specifies that when you start developing a budget for a period, you have to start keeping your base as zero. That means you should develop or you should draw your budget using not using your previous data. You should not consider the data, or you should not draw the data from your previous year's budget or actuals. That is what zero-based budgeting means. So every budgeting cycle or a period, that can be an year or a quarter or even a month, should be considered as a new period. So zero-based budgeting was primarily formulated by Mr. Peter Fire, who was working at Texas Instruments. Peter Fire can be considered as the father of ZBB. So ZBB is nothing but a budgeting process which mainly focuses, or the objective of which is to reduce cost reduction or optimum use of your resources. Okay, so I'm continuing my topic. So zero-based budgeting is a technique which aims, or the objective is mainly to reduce cost or use your resources optimally. So how do you achieve this? This is by combining four things. First is process change, by changing your financial planning and management processes. The second is by improving organization systems and procedures so that there is a better visibility to determine what are driving the costs for your spends, or those are in your budget. The third is change in governance model, where the cost management is part of everyone's job, rather than it's only a responsibility of finance or a procurement team. It is everyone's job to monitor the costs and to ask themselves why you want to incur these costs. Fourth one is to improve your performance management metrics or incentive systems of your organizations. So when you combine all these four activities, a mindset and a behavior shifts where all employees who are made part of budget think and ask themselves, why should I spend this cost, instead of just asking themselves where I can reduce the cost. So this is a very important area wherein you analyze each and every expenses, you analyze in detail each and every expense, you ask yourself, do I really need to spend this cost, or it's not like you need to reduce cost, it's like whether I need to spend this cost, whether it is necessary to spend this cost, whether it is required for my budget, for my achievement of objectives, is very important when you are drawing a budget using zero based technique. So zero based budget is suitable when you are allocating resources in areas where spend is discretionary, which means there are expenditure which are non-essential. It can depend on industry to industry. Some industries might consider R&D or advertisement or training costs as not discretionary. For some industries, this is very important. So it depends upon industry to industry. And usually you see that local authorities or public sectors are the concerns who use ZBB, where their activities in each year are different or each budget period are different. So this is the base suitable. Zero based budget is suitable for these guys, but zero based budget is actually used by many organizations in say in a very minute level or in an area where there is more concern. So I can get into details by giving a small example in the later part of the session. So I would continue with my presentation by describing the purpose of CBB. I'll just read through it. I'll explain it to you in detail. A purpose of CBB is to re-evaluate, re-analyze, re-examine all your finances, expenditures, your functions in each of your budgeting cycle. How do you do it? Is by analyzing your workload, the time taken to complete an activity, the efficiency measures which you need to draw. That means SOPs or internal controls measures, which can determine your priorities and alternatives that are available for your finance expenditures and functions. This enables the management in justifying each and every activity in entirely. That's what I'm saying. In ZBB, you have to evaluate and assess each line items you wish to spend in a budgeting period. You should be able to prioritize and explain each alternative activities which are identified for achieving your desired objective. So when you are starting on an activity of drafting a ZBB, you have to ask yourself, why do you need a ZBB? You want to expand your margins or reduce your overall cost by defining, explaining, and rationally justifying. I stress the word rationally justifying each elements of costs. You have to analyze each elements line by line. And like I told earlier, you have to ask yourself the question, why I should spend this cost in first instance itself. You want more rigorous budgeting. When you are sitting in a budget, when you're drafting a budget, you will be sitting, you are be brainstorming with your department heads, your senior management, everyone will be part of this budgeting process. So the more the discussions and brainstorming sessions you have with your managers, the more thoughtful choices you can make. So in ZBB, you have to interact with all the department heads who are responsible for a particular cost center or a profit center, so that you can come to a very legitimate choice for a particular objective to achieve. So this is the one question which you will ask yourself. The third one is, you want to put in place a continuous improvement platform for the organization. That means that you should be able to implement continuous improvement engines where you can reallocate resources to the areas where it matters the most for the organization or the business. So these are the purposes when you are implementing CBB, you will ask yourself, why I would like to, why I would want to imply or use CBB as a budgeting technique. So I'm going to my next slide. As the steps which are involved in ZBB, there are basically 4 steps which is involved in zero-based budgeting. First is to identify a decision unit. Decision units are cost centers or profit centers, investment centers or responsibility centers, where the managers of each and individual units should specify the activities or specifically say you have a specific word for that, decision packages that can be individually evaluated. Like you have to have a measurable unit to implement CBB. There should be a measurable unit or a decision package. Decision package is nothing but an alternative method to reach your decision units objectives using the limited or predefined resources. So each individual activity under the units is documented in a decision package, which will state the costs and revenue expected out of each and every decision package. So a decision package is a document which will contain the analysis of costs. Cost, like I said in my first slide, cost, you should not consider previous year data or previous year data to draw your this year's budget, but you may take the information, you may take the costing informations from the historical records to draw upon a conclusion why I need to spend this cost. If you are having a going concern and you are having a previous data, it doesn't mean that you can't consider your cost at all. You should not draw a conclusion that tomorrow the cost will be X percentage of inflation of last year. It's not like that. You have to consider the information you have last year, and based on those information you have to draw your budget from zero. That's what I meant when you are saying you have to consider your cost. Second, you have to state the purpose of the activity. In the decision package document, you have to specifically state the purpose of the activity you are defining. You can identify alternative methods for achieving same purpose. That is there. So for a particular solution, for a particular problem, there will be multiple solutions. You have to analyze and you have to identify these solutions. So you have alternative methods for achieving the same process. Assess the consequences of not doing the activity at all or performing the activity at different level. It means that there may be some situations when you have to decide whether I have to do this activity, or if I am not doing this activity, is there any consequences on my top line or bottom line, like that. So you have to assess that consequences also. You can do a sensitivity analysis based on that. So you have to establish the measures of performance for the activity. It is nothing but that should be measurable. There should be internal controls mechanisms for that. There should be proper SOPs and things like that. So these things should be documented, and this will form part of a decision package. There are actually 2 kinds of decision package. One is mutually exclusive decision package. Mutually exclusive decision package contains a method of obtaining. It's a different methods of obtaining the same objective. Like I said, there may be 2 alternatives for a particular problem. So there may be 2 solutions. So that is mutually exclusive. The second one is an incremental package. Incremental package are divided into a number of different level of activity. The base describes the minimum effort and cost needed for that particular activity. That will be considered as a base, and the other packages will be incremental costs and benefits when added to the base of your decision package. So there is a base, there is a foundation, and each and every levels will be each and every flows which will have a priority, which you can prioritize based on your requirements, based on your resources. So these are 2 kinds of decision package you usually have in a when you are considering CBB base as a budget, CBB base for budgeting process. The third step for taking into consideration CBB is to evaluate and rank these decision packages. So most of you will be aware that when you are analyzing any activities, when you're analyzing any prospects, first thing what will you do? You will be doing a cost benefit analysis. So here also each and every decision, since they are measurable, you will be able to do a cost benefit analysis. So you can do a cost benefit analysis and rank each and every decision package. You can prioritize each of your expenditures into essential and discretionary items. Essentials are like must-haves for your organization. It is critical for your business. and discretionary are good to have. It is not critical for your business, but it is good to have these facilities. So you have to rank them based on your priority, which will be in line with the total organization's objective. Then the final activity, once everything is finalized, once the budget is finalized, what you need to do is you have some resources. You need to allocate these resources to those prioritized activities and functions in various decision packages of that particular decision unit. So you have to allocate resources based on the finalized budget using the CBB. So before going to the next session, so this is actually the base of what I am trying to explain of ZBB. This is actually the base of that. So I can give you a very hypothetical example so that you will be able to understand a little bit of how to implement a ZBB, how to implement what is a package, what are the decision, what are the type of items which the senior management will be considering for making their decisions and all. So I'll give you a very hypothetical situation, an example. I'm actually using this particular example from one of the articles which I read regarding ZBB. So just there is a manufacturing company and they have a process, they have a function for materials handling operation. So the manager who is responsible for decision unit or department has identified a base package for performing the material handling function. So like I said, in incremental package, there is a base package, there is a foundation. And here the foundation, what he has identified is that he needs 6 employees or 6 person. So assuming the base package is a team of 5 workers and 1 supervisor, they are operating or managing the materials handling operations in their warehouse, and their annual estimated cost of salary and wages, including the overtime, is 15 lakhs. And this manager has identified 2 incremental packages for that. The first one is that he can lease 2 forklifts for a cost of rupees 1 lakh every year. And if he is implementing that, he will be able to function in a better environment. Better systems will be there because materials can be stacked up higher. It can be stacked up in an orderly manner. Moreover, you can move it quickly. So removing the downtime for that, you can also save a lot of time and money. Time is actually money, so you can save a lot of time. And moreover, the health and safety of the employees or the workers are also considered or reduced drastically when you are considering a forklift, because manual efforts are eliminated. So assuming that there is a savings when you are using 2 forklift for doing your activity, assume that there is a cost saving of rupees 30,000 every year on overtime cost. I'm not talking about the fixed cost, talking about the overtime cost. So if there is a savings of 30,000, that is the first alternative or incremental package the manager has identified. The second one will be to introduce a new software which he can integrate to his existing ERP to plan the materials handling schedules. So the cost of buying and integrating this software, just assume that it is rupees 5 lakhs. So it is a one-time cost, it is a fixed cost. You are investing in a software. There may be AMCs and all. I'm not considering that since this is an example. So there may be the cost of implementing this software is estimated to 5 lakhs. So when you are investing this 5 lakhs, there will be improvement in efficiency because production downtime can be reduced. This is assumed to result in a savings of rupees 60,000, which is actually double the savings of the first option rather than the first option. So here the base package is considered essential. So the highest priority will be given to the base package, which is you require 6 staffs for handling the material handling operation. So the manager would evaluate and rank both this option 1, which is implementing 2 forklifts, which is leasing 2 forklifts, and option 2 to implement a new software for material handling and material scheduling, time scheduling. So the manager will prioritize based on his priorities and resources available with him. So finally, when the budget is finalized by the senior management will might opt forklift as an option, and that doesn't mean that computers, the software which the manager has planned is not beneficial. That might be rejected on the grounds that the resources, the limited resources, can be utilized more effectively in other higher priority areas other than material handling. So you will be having a resource, so that can be prioritized on a on other alternatives of different departments. So with the limited resources you are having, you will be taking a legit decision on which package you need to select. The management will have rational justification for selecting the each and every spends. That is the crux of ZBB. You will have a justification on why you have selected this particular over the other. And this forms the crux of CBB. You have justification for each and every line item, each and every rupee you have spent. So this is a brief example which I wanted to share with you. Are there any questions? Was I able to communicate properly? I'm not sure. Can you respond to that?
Abhishek ji,
Yes, sir.
Kumar sir is asking if you have a slide on this. If after this, if you have a slide on
after this, I have a
the
slide.
manufacturing setup.
The example which I have told, I've just written it down. I have not
Yes,
prepared
if
it.
you have it, share it. Otherwise,
I'll
no problem.
definitely. I will once this session is completed, I will share this PPT as well as the notes for that example which I have made. So I'll share it.
Fine, absolutely fine.
Okay, so I'll move on to the other slide with your permission. Now, what I will do is I will compare our traditional budgeting approach to zero-based budgeting as this is a comparative study. I didn't want to give elaborate and examples for elaborate details or theory on this. I just wanted to stress on certain areas wherein these are applied. So, in a traditional budgeting approach, when you are considering your sales or revenue, basically what you tend to do is you will take the previous year sales, you will increase your volume by a certain percentage, you will increase your price by a certain percentage, and you will arrive at a sales what you are expecting for the budget in question, for the period in question. But in zero-based budgeting, what you will do is you will draft sales and revenue in such a way that you are doing your activity from beginning. The efforts which you have taken when you first started your operation, when you first undertaken your operation, will be the same effort you will take to draw your sales or revenue targets for next budgeting period in a zero-based budgeting approach. Plus your existing customers carry forward. If you are a going concern, you have a previous history, definitely your customers who are loyal to you, definitely customers who are who like your services will come to you again and again. So the existing customers will be carry forward from your previous. So your sales will be like you will be putting in lot of effort, like you are starting your organization from the first. So this is how you draw a CBB. The costs usually what we do in a traditional budgeting is like you will consider your previous year cost. You will see what all activities are there. You will identify some activities there are additions. You will add those activities if there are some deletions in activities or some areas which you are not going to carry forward to next year, and you will apply a certain percentage to last year's data. So it's like you are using last year as a base, and you are applying a certain percentage increment to that particular expenses, and you are drawing it for your budget. But in zero-based budgeting, what will you do is you will analyze each and every data, and you each and every line items in your budget. And just like I mentioned earlier, you will ask yourself a question whether it is required or whether reduction in such kind of cost will impact my sales. These questions will be asked. So cost required for the efforts which you have taken in first year of your operations, that will also be a part of this year's when you are considering CBB, because you are planning your activities from a start. Plus there will be committed costs. Committed costs are nothing but your legal contracts, your agreements, written agreements. Those are having legal obligations, and if not adhered to, might have legal issues or legal complications. So those costs will also be considered when you are doing a zero-based budgeting. In sales and marketing also, it is similar to your normal practice. You will you will apply a certain percentage to your previous year amounts, and you will draw your next year's budget or next period's budget. But in zero based budgeting, what you will do is you will analyze the efforts required for your marketing to increase your sales. You might need to see when zero based budgeting, when I say that there is cost reduction, doesn't mean that you have to reduce cost in each and every department. What I mean to say is this is an overall reduction. Excuse me. This is an overall reduction, and in certain cases, certain departments who might need to spend more, say in marketing, post COVID scenario, you might need to spend more on your marketing and sales promotions to gain your customer confidence, or to capture new customers, new territories. You might need to spend more on your marketing, but in overall you will be able to reduce cost in any other departments. You will be able to reduce cost. You will be able to identify uh, elements in other departments wherein you can contribute to reduce the cost. So overall there is a benefit. It doesn't mean that there will not be any increase in any particular department. Of course, to increase your top line, there may be some incremental expenses which you will be facing, but overall for the organization there will be a cost reduction. Employee cost also, this is a basic practice everywhere. I'm not saying this is a wrong practice. This is a basic practice wherein you will consider your previous year employee cost. You will apply a certain inflation to that and increment percent to that. There is no performance evaluation criteria for some employees. Most of the MNCs and new professional setup managers like my person company, they are professionally managed thanks to the help of our learned faculties like Menon sir and MSA Kumar sir, who is a big mentor for our organizations. They have helped us in implementing performance based appraisal systems wherein performance is evaluated rather than your loyalty. So for employee cost, you will be asking yourself why I should allocate this much budget for your existing employees. So there are areas where in my personal experience we have considered, especially in employee cost, wherein we were able to save a good amount of cost by doing employee cost, but not at the cost of ill treating your employees. Employees are all considered well, and we have implemented some areas based on that. I'll share that with you in the next slide. I'll be able to share my experiences, the areas which my team helped, especially my senior management who has supported us to implement and achieve good cost benefit out of those experiences. So based on what I have mentioned earlier, you might not uh, realize. See, in zero-based budgeting, you have to make sure that each and every money is accounted for. Each and every money has a specific justification. So when you are doing that, when you are able to go back to the drawing board, and when you are able to analyze each and every expenses line by line, I'm sure that you will be able to identify some cost which you think that is discretionary and can be eliminated or reduced. So this is the basic comparison which I wanted to give you on the traditional budgeting approach and a zero based budgeting approach. So I'll in the next slide I will actually show some of the experiences which we had and some of the areas of concerns which we had, and we approached it in a when we budgeted for the last year. We used some of the concept of ZBB to implement in these areas of concerns. So I'll get to the next slide. So uh, before that, I'll just explain this slide. I added this slide recently. Post-COVID budgeting, how will you budget? So we had finalized our budget in February in our company, the company which I'm currently working. We finalized our budget in February and estimated for some costs and revenue for March. But in March, when lockdown was there, we were completely shut down for 2 whole months. So, and the budget which we finalized in February was the old one, and which is actually and budget which you will not be able to use in your present scenario. So, how we approached for post-COVID budget is what I have depicted here. So, when you are analyzing your sales, you will be having a target sales. For the year 20, I am referring to financial year 2021. In year 2021, how we analyze sale is you have a target revenue and you have expected revenue loss. You were shut down for the first 2 months, and there were cases where you have a partial lockdown in some of the areas. So you are expecting that, you are estimating such issues. You are expecting customers to not go outside to make the purchase, since you don't have any functions. There are restrictions. There are 144 implemented. So people will be not going outside. They will not be attending any functions. So since we are in textile industries, the only thing which will benefit us will be homeware products. So other products, there will be a lag. So we estimated a revenue loss for that, and that was deducted from our target revenue. That's how we came up to a sales revenue option. Most of the company will be first thinking that they have to reach break even to meet their fixed expenses. That will be the first thing what you will be considering when you are doing a post-COVID, post-lockdown scenario. And though your gross margins will be recalibrated to your COVID scenario, some expenses, there will be some expenses which you will not be incurring, like traveling expenses, which are directly related to your purchases. Those expenses will be reduced. So you have to recalibrate your gross margins or cost of goods sold to arrive at the gross margins. Your costs, all the costs, be it fixed, be it variable, you will go back to your drawing board. You will discuss with each and every departments. You will take line by line items, and once you have approved it in it was approved in your February budget, but you will rethink, reevaluate whether it is required post COVID. So that will be done in a combined manner, wherein all the department heads will be participating. That is very important. You have to have a consensus with all the departments to achieve a proper ZBB budgeting. The marketing costs, like I said in my earlier slide, you will have to incur certain costs with respect to marketing to gain your customer confidence. You have to increase your marketing expenses for sales promotions or marketing activities, wherein you need to onboard customers, go to new territories, and also marketing cost may have to be considered strategically. So that decision should be taken in a collective manner, but that has to be decided in a strategic way. So in 2021, we are hopeful that we'll be able to bounce back, not to the extent what we had in 2019-20, but we'll be able to bounce back from the worst what we have what we are presently facing, that is 2021. We'll be able to bounce back some percent. So your target revenue will be added with a plan for increase in sales compared to 2021. You will set your gross margin based on that. You will again discuss with each departments what all costs you will be incurring. You will ask the questions whether I need to incur this cost or not, things like that. So this is how you actually draft your post-COVID budget. This is my limited knowledge. This is how I have done it. And this is a very limited view. What I am saying, I'm not saying this is the perfect view. There may be other views also. This is what I have done with my help of my senior management. I have implemented. I have prepared my COVID budget. So, so going to my next slide, I will briefly explain some business cases which we implemented in our areas of concern in novelty. Not on novelty, I have added some from my previous employees like Malayalam Communications and Synthite Industries Limited and all. So I'll just brief you of these activities. I'll not explain in detail. I'm not going to go to details. I'll just brief you the activities which we have undertaken. So the first one was that we thought of engaging some outsourced partners to carry on activities or functions. Like we had made our marketing executives from fixed salary to percentage of sales, wherein they will benefit more when their sales is higher. So it's not like we have cut down their salaries. It's like there has been kept a relation, a parity between what they are receiving now and what will they receive when sales are higher. So there are activities like job work. We were doing in-house activities like folding, packing, logistics and transportation by ourselves. We had our own vehicles for transportations and all. So we analyzed that these are fixed expenses. Even if you don't have sale, you might have to incur these costs. So what happened was we analyzed each and every cases, and we evaluated that when you are outsourcing, you have to evaluate why do you want to outsource. If you want to outsource, there will be certain criteria. if a skilled employee is required, and that is a seasonal job, you will not employ a person for the whole year. You will more go to a specialist who is doing that, and you will engage him for that brief period or for that seasonal period. So those are the activities we had to go back and analyze, wherein we can save cost. So here what happened was, we had some alternative methods to do the business, and also created a business opportunity. Like I said, we had our in-house partners for doing folding, packaging, traveling, logistics and transportation part. So what happened was, for some of the capable fellows, we asked them whether they are interested. We gave them an option to do their own business, wherein they can grow and they can do their own business at a cost, per piece cost, so that we can reduce our cost based on our sales, and thereby increasing their share into business also, for they can actually contribute to the economy, because they are also doing a business. We are actually giving them an opportunity to do business. So they had prospered in this area. And we were able to save cost also. The important aspect was like, all this activity, when we outsource, the management had a lot of time to decide on new product lines, new markets, new initiatives which the management needs to take to increase the revenue or increase the share of their share of novelty in the total market of textiles and garments. And we were able to increase the productivity, because you will get quality ensured in all your process and product. Because when you are outsourcing, you will get the right minds for your process. It doesn't mean that the same person who has to get trained, or you have to give him proper training and development when new things are happening. If you are giving outsourced partners, just like your auditors, they are already capable of handling your activities. So outsourcing is activity which you have to take a very strategically manner. Outsourcing is an activity which you have to consider in a very strategic way, considering all the pros and cons. By doing our activities, like marketing executives were changed to commission based, job works were introduced, we were able to save a lot of money in HR cost, and also increase our productivity, efficiency and quality. The second thing what we did is, we restructured the jobs of some areas. We were able to identify idle time. When we went back to each and every individual departments, we were able to identify idle time of employees. There were some departments wherein they had an idle time of more than 40% of their regular daily period of work, time of work. So we were able to reallocate them or give them additional responsibilities, so that they can be utilized for a specific post for which there is vacancy. So we were able to save filling of vacancies. We were able to save nearly 2.5%. That is roughly around 15 to 17 lakhs rupees per annum. We were able to save by simply restructuring, identifying idle time and restructuring the jobs or department. So that was one case when we analyzed each and every department. We were able to identify and come to a very good business case. The third initiative was done, what was more beneficial in post-COVID scenario. That was going digital in purchase function. Earlier, what happens was, since it's a textile industry, you need to travel to various suppliers, wherein you have to feel the product and purchase based on your tastes and current market trends. So once the purchase function was digitalized, every supplier and purchase team were able to invest their time in studying this software, studying this platform, and managing their buying activity in this software, sitting in an offsite or an offshore location. This saved a lot of cost in travel, especially your direct. This is a direct expense. It is definitely going to reflect in your GM, gross margins. So it reduced our travel costs, procurement costs, and also improved your customer grading and their due diligence. You will be having a lot of suppliers. You will be analyzing these suppliers based on the percentage of damage, the percentage of return to your purchase. There will be some criteria based on which you will be grading your supplies, so that you are sure that even if they are uploading an image to the digital purchase platform, you will be sure that this supplier is a genuine supplier who supplies us genuine products. He's delivers what he promises. So we will be able to grade the suppliers. We will be able to do better due diligence for that. So that was introduced. That was introduced last year, but the benefits we were able to reap in post-COVID scenario. And the main important criteria was we were able to convert the fixed bonus part to a more performance linked. That has done wonders for our organization. We were able to improve the organization's performance. The mindset and behavior of the employees also shifted from traditional to more professional approach. This has improved the efficiency of our organization to a very big level. So that is a very good initiative which we were able to implement. And the other small areas which we were able to save was to take our ERP to cloud, which we had done last year. That is, thanks to that, we were able to work from home. We were having the facility to work from home using this platform. We were able to do networking sitting at home itself. A lot of our obsolete hardwares didn't need replacements. We eliminated a lot of repair and AMC costs, and we didn't need to invest in a lot of big servers and all. So this was a good initiative which was taken care by our senior management. And there were some expenses, like very small contribution, but every drop will make a sea. That's a saying, like every drop will make a sea. So small expenses we were also able to cut down. Just very small example I'll give you, like the postage and couriers which we had. We shifted that to emails, and only very important documents which we had to give originals only, we used postage and couriers. We had two devices. There were one dongle and a mobile connection for a person. We had cut the dongles facility for the employees, and we only gave them SIM cards when they have a facility to tether their internet facility when they wanted to work from home. So these are small areas which we were able to invest in time and get some benefits out of it. So these are the business cases which I would like to share with you with regards to zero-based budgeting techniques. I'm not saying this is holistic approach of zero-based budgeting, but when you went down to every basics of your costs, you were able to identify this and you were able to save these costs. So this is what I wanted to share with you. And so concluding, I would like to thank for giving me an opportunity I pranam Mr. Anu sir from my heart to give me this opportunity to share my experience and views on zero-based budgeting. I hope I have done justice to you, sir, and thank you. But on a concluding note, I would like to say that the critical factor for success of CBB is the mindset and behavior shift of employees across the organization. Management should be the role models for them. If you are you are convincing your employees that the new transformation is going to give benefits to you, your employees are supportive, you can definitely implement ZBB. And we, from the support of our top management, were able to do that. And thanks to all my seniors, my boss, for the support he has given. He has shown faith in us. And thank you all. And now I'm open to questions if you have any.
So before we take questions, Abhishek ji, it's my absolute honor. Right, very well explained. And there was one point, Bete, all of us, please note, Abhishek ji just mentioned it is all about the management change in mindset. So a couple of important points before we take some questions. Abhishek ji, you can have a look at Q&A. Kumar sir has given some valuable inputs and thanked you also. Right, in Q&A. Okay. So one is change in mindset. And this is the time where you could come with all these changes, because everybody knows that these are difficult times. These are challenging times. I want to say two things here. One, this is one group where I find the promoter is very happy that his son is getting inducted in such challenging times. So normally when I meet family managed businesses, I can see that smile on Abhishek's face. A lot of people complain, right? Arey, bahut bura ho raha hai. This is bad times. What do we do? But respected George sir says that very well. He says, if dear Paul, who incidentally is part of the audience, can get inducted now, it is the best thing, because this is passing through fire. Second point is Paul always says that, Paul always says that, it's a very unique management and they are able to implement things. I'm in regular touch with the young man because I really like the way he is taking the company forward. Third, most important thing, as Abhishek ji kept saying, there's one more person, right? Ma'am, Shanti ma'am, if you could just look at, yes. If you could just look at the chat, I made a request. So there is one more person who is very instrumental, and you could see immediately Abhishek ji smiled and said, Sijoy ji, right? Who has been very instrumental in doing this. So again, as I said, right, slightly shy, but a man of action, a man of real action. He has implemented something which is known as PLVP. So this is an employee thinking like an entrepreneur, right? An employee thinking like an entrepreneur. And then they have gone ahead and taken this challenging times straightforward. Please note Abhishek ji's comment. Every single line item should be analyzed. Every drop makes an ocean. That was a very critical line, and this requires effort. This requires effort. This requires you to relook at things. पहला दिन से बोल रहा हूँ बेटे जीरो बेस बजटिंग जीरो बेस बजटिंग तो जब इनको मिला आई फेल्ट वेरी गुड उन्होंने implement भी किया है sales is okay and incidentally one of their divisions sales has been extraordinarily good, others have not been good, which is okay, but still they have been able to keep a look at the profit margins because they have been attacking cost. Can I take some questions? Sijoy ji, I know you are slightly shy, but if you could come in as panelist and add your 2 words, I'll be happy. No compulsion though, but I would be happy if you could do it. Always a pleasure knowing somebody like you also. Others can, Dr. Vinod Nair, you're also there. Any questions, please type. All right. So one question from respected Kumar sir has said that, this is extremely good. We could also do, why don't you read it out, Abhishek ji? Right. Activate based costing. So you could explain that, please.
Kumar sir had asked a question that before you implement ZBB, is there a need to carry out an activity based costing? Since I mentioned in my first step of the CBB that you have to make decision units. Yes, it is absolutely important. See, what happens is when you are identifying an area as a decision unit, like a cost center or a profit center, you should be able to minutely describe or measure that particular activity which you need to do. So you have to analyze that activity in a such a detailed manner that this is measurable and this is going to that. I mentioned one point where when you are reducing a certain cost, if it's going to impact your top line or a bottom line or the particular objective of that particular activity, you will certainly require to do an activity based costing for that. But when you are implying ZBB in a holistic manner, only you need to do this. When you have an approach wherein you need to implement it only one area, like you have to reduce your marketing costs, you have to reduce your advertisement costs, then activity based costing will not be that much required. When you are doing a holistic approach for a whole of your organization, you are going to implement ZBB, then you will have to definitely take the views of activity based costing as well.
Karamveer has come in with, and Abhishek ji, you spoke like a real professional. I can't think of anybody who could have done a better job. Amazing clarity in thoughts.
Thank you.
I'm
very
watching
much.
You speak, and I really feel privileged. Thank you, Abhishek ji, for sharing your experience. Some of the examples have actually given me better clarity on the subject. Karamveer Ahuja, also a businessman, right? Always there for all sessions, looking for applying these concepts. Let me take next 10 minutes. I'd like to take up some questions. I'm waiting for some questions from respected seniors. Abhishek ji, how easy was it to implement variable pay? If I may say, I can switch my video on, but then what happens is I will cover you up. That's the reason I'm not doing it. So if I could just ask you, what was the, right, Paul again, dear Paul says great session. So how easy was it to implement this incentive base and other things?
See, it was primarily very hard to convince your employees that we are going from a traditional fixed bonus approach to a performance linked approach. But thankfully, I would be very honest with you. What happened was the year in which we implemented this, we were able to give a handsome hike over the normal regular bonus. So people were able to understand that when you perform better, you will get more. So that is, I have to appreciate to a greater extent to Sijoy sir and Kumar sir. They spearheaded this activity. I was actually a support function only. So Sijoy sir, who is actually part of this session, he is an attendee. He's a person who spearheaded this activity, who went down to minute levels to detail and convince your employees that PLVP is a boon to you. It is a benefit over your traditional fixed bonus, and that helped him in a direct manner. When your performance was high, you were able to implement it, and you were able to get better bonus or better incentives for your performance, because your performance performed well. When they didn't perform, like this year the performance is low, they can understand that when the performance is low, you have to put in some effort to get these incentives. They are convinced that this approach is actually the perfect approach for a company to follow, which is a win-win scenario for both the employees. When the company is prospering, the employees will also prosper. When the company is losing, the employees also stands losing. So this is not on the fixed salary portion. What we are talking about is the bonus part. We had given the statutory bonuses as per the bonus act, but the incentive portion, the incentivized portion was made in a PLP manner, performance linked manner. So I would definitely love some thoughts from Sijoy sir if he is able to answer this question, because he was the person who was in charge of this activity. Sir Sijoy sir, if you are able to just put on your thoughts on this, it will be great.
This is a budget is drawn up. And within that budget, if the company does well, then you get the variable pay. It's called as profit-linked variable pay. If the company does not do well, of course, you lose it out. So normally, what Abhishek ji was saying is that there was a tradition that everybody gets a fixed increment. That is applicable, of course, for the lower people. You have to do that, but
Yes,
somebody like the top management, right, it is not applicable. So, right, this is where they linked it to the organizational goals in terms of profitability, and then explained it down the line to each individual so that everybody is clear. And one more very interesting thing, Abhishek, I'm not sure whether I can say that bit, but Paul is so kind, has been telling me. So this company, Karambir, jara sun ke lijiye. But before that, I think there's a question from Dr. Vinod Nair. I was waiting for Sir's question. What are the challenges you faced during this conversion? Dr. Vinod Nair. Abhishek ji, what were the challenges you faced during this conversion?
The main challenge was convincing your employees. That is the main challenge. Drawing your PLP package was pretty much easy for us, because you have mentors like MSA Kumar sir, Anil sir. It is easy for getting in ideas and draw a package. But to take this idea to the employees is the very difficult part. And that was that's why I wanted to ask Sijoy sir for his participation. He is the person who spearheaded this. This is the activity which he what involved into base level employees as well to implement this. Like Anil sir rightly said, we had made sure that the base level employees didn't lose on anything, since some people will not be linked directly to the top line. So such people, we made sure that they are not losing on any part, but the manager, the middle managing, the junior managing level, the senior management, all were incentivized based on the performance. So I would like to give this answer from Sijoy sir, because he is the right person to answer this question.
Abhishek ji, when Sijoy ji is being made the panelist, if I may ask one more very important question, now that you have defined it, right? Do you think this will continue after this challenging times, or no? So reforms typically people do whenever it is challenging times. But
right.
Once the challenge is over and things come back to normal, how do you keep up the momentum? Because now people may agree, right?
Yes.
Okay, TK, let's continue because I don't get a job anywhere. Let me continue with this organization.
Yes.
Incidentally, one very small remark, if I may have the permission of dear Paul, love him. This organization found that 2 or 3 people at the top quit, right? And my initial reaction was to look at Paul saying, my God, right? And he just calmly said, that's okay, sir, no problem. And this kid told me something which was very good. He said that, I'm happy that people are quitting because we can get fresh blood, right? Though I would like my employees to continue, right? But one, we are getting fresh blood. He said that, I don't want people to leave, but if they leave, I'll get fresh blood. Second thing that he said, and I love him for that, he said that, now I will be able to implement a lot of things because the new person who joins in will come with a clear-cut idea. And that is where we can, again, start from scratch. So the question to you, Abhishek ji, how will you, Sijoy sir has joined. before Sujoy sir comes in, how will you keep up the momentum?
Sir, first of all, whatever plans or whatever decisions which we are about to take, we take in consensus of each and every employees or each and every department heads. I have to say, I'm not going to each and every employees, but each and every department heads consensus is taken. So what I do is I show them the benefits of what happens if you are doing this. If I'm able to show them that, they accept that, and they are able to reciprocate for that, because they realize that if there are benefits, they are convinced. In our organization, thank God, most of our employees are what really open to new initiatives, and if you are able to show them benefits, then definitely we will be able to implement this in future stages as well. And I'm sure that we are, even now I'm deep diving into each and every activities which I have not entered till date, so that I can identify new areas to improve. And when I do this, I definitely take the consensus of Sujoy sir as well as the senior officials of each and every departments, so that I get a consent from them that what I am doing is right for them, what I am doing is beneficial to the whole organization. And once you are able to justify this, once you are able to have a consensus on that, you will be able to do it in future also.
Thank you. Thank you, Anil sir. Good evening to all.
Always a pleasure seeing you. Always a pleasure seeing you.
Okay. And Abhishek, thank you. Actually, and the section was good, very good.
My pleasure, sir.
And particularly, I'm talking about this PLVP. We have implemented the system 4 years back. Before that, we were running a system of incentive with a bonus, which was almost on the basis of a fixed type. And I have worked with the help of, and the idea have been given by Kumar sir, and he was associated with us. I think so already 4 years is over, and he have given this idea, and I have worked on that, and we implemented this system. I have on the basis of bottom line and top line. When we gone for field sales staff, only top line is applicable. But in the case of counter sales, almost all leading people, all leading staff, they are involved in purchase and sales, both the activities, all operations. So they have the authority in deciding the selling price and purchase, everything they know. So I decided to create this system on the basis of bottom line also. So according to that, I have worked and I have convinced with the people the existing system and what is the new system. And initially the first year, and I was very confident that this will work. And the first year I offered to the people that the existing system and the new system, we will work out, and whichever will get the better system, that will be implemented. And the second year onwards, the new system will be continued like that. So luckily, first year we have achieved over and above 125%. And we planned on the basis of bottom line, and we achieved the incentive above approx 125%. The system was like that. It will, if the bottom line will work as per the target on 100%, we will get the 100% bucket we will achieve. And on the basis of if the bottom line will increase 10%, we will get 25% more. If the bottom line will decrease 10%, we will the PLVP will reduced by 25%. Like that, we were planned this. So first year we achieved, but the second year, and almost all employees, I included all employees, or from the bottom line staff to top line staff in a single system, and have make a bucket to all employees, and according to the performance, and that system have been linked to the KRIs of the people. And like that, I have planned this system, and we have achieved the system first year. And second year, by the due to the flood which happened in Kerala, our bottom line have reduced too much. So that was not achieved in the second year. That is in 2018. But in the last year, We are not in a position to achieve, but because in March COVID have been affected, and we are into at the final stage we will reach. But in March 15th onwards, shutdown have come on March 22nd, I think so it is. But then also, we have planned according to the on the base of the bottom line. We have achieved the bottom line, and this year due to the COVID we are very much struggling. Then also we have distribute the we have achieved in last year, and we have distribute the PLVP, and the employees become confident, because before, what the amount they have got at the time of with the incentive and all type of incentive and bonus, and everybody is getting much more than that if they are achieving, and they are confident into this system now. Everybody is confident, and it is working on both beneficial to employer and employee, because if the company is getting more, employee also will get more. If the company will affect due to any employee also, employees, this part will affect, because over and above 80% of the um, part of the income was fixed, and approximately 20% depends upon employees department and position. In some department it is 15% is variable. In some department it is up to 30% is variable. Like that we have planned, and it is working very nicely since from the last 4 years. And I have prepared for the field level staff. I have prepared on the basis of top line only, that is on the basis of sales, and for all other staff I have prepared on the basis of bottom line of the organization. So it is working, and employees are also very happy, and they are very confident into that. And the main thing that I have explained the system and educate the system to the some of the up to the what we call like supervisory level, that I have explained, drilled down to and explained, and I have taken the confidence to the staff. That is why we are implementing all the system now. Approximately we have all together 400 employees are there, but they are confident, and I am giving this variable pay to the bottom line staff also. From top line to bottom line, I am giving we are giving this variables pay, so they are happy in this system.
Thank you, Sujay sir. I'll just take 1 minute. There's some questions. One is welcome, Ranjan. Ranjan is my batchmate from Bajaj. He is an industrialist. He's based out of Indore. And again, Facebook Live is really working. So hi, Ranjan. I just saw you there. It'd be a pleasure to have somebody like you. So Ranjan was an investment banker and then decided to join family business based out of Indore. Okay. If I remember correctly, they are into copper manufacturing. Welcome. Sujayji, they say, so two things which has come in from Sujayji before I ask this question. One, initially the employees were told, we will try both the systems and whichever is better for you. Look at the management way of approaching things, So that is where this entire thing is trust. So they said, we'll try both, whichever is better is good for you. So now you realize, I know why people look up to Sujayji and say, oh, he means good for us. That's number one. Number two, please remember, I think some of us are not aware of it. Dr. Vinod Nair is aware. Shantimas is definitely aware. Kerala has been ravaged for the last 4 years. It's been really bad. Rains, floods, COVID, right? But still, if you have to keep moving, right, you have to take people along. And that's what Sujayji has been doing, taking them along and helping them achieve their targets. And one more very important line, I don't know whether you saw that. If you see this video again, Sujayji made a very nice remark. He said, people will earn more in the new system, and then he stopped and he said, if they perform well. So it came out very clearly that performance is a benchmark, which leads us to a question to dear Abhishek ji and Sujay ji from respected Vinod sir. Have you considered burnout of good employees, especially in the long run? Sujay ji can take it, Abhishek ji can take it. I'm specifically asking because some of my clients in life coaching, to achieve in less, especially when they are all facing stress. So the question is simple, Sujay ji, Abhishek ji, does it lead to burnout of good employees? Your practical experience, sir.
actually good employees burnout means here our labor turnover means it is
Attrition.
very less compared to other organization. Basically, the academic background of actually we are into textile trading, which is actually not a professionalized segment still in India, I can say. Okay, textile trading and the manufacturing and branding is separate. Our major revenue is coming from the trading sector, which is not the people who is associated with us. Almost a lot of people are working with us since from last 25 years and 35 years, and I have been joined here 15 years back. Okay, and lot of people have that loyalty with us, and attrition was actually very less. It is there, but it is very less, especially in senior level people. But some people are going, and it is not that much affecting us because we have created the system like that. Because it is not dependent on a particular people, or it is not depend in a single man. And we have created like that. It is depends to a team. So when attrition is happen, it is not that much affecting to us yet. It is not a problem. We have not faced that much issue because we are on systems and team, not a single person. We are not into a single person.
So the key word here is teamwork, system, communication. Teamwork, system, communication. Spoken like a true leader, absolute true leader. All right. Any more questions, dear colleagues? Any more questions? It'd be a pleasure to take up. Advait, any questions, bete? Apurva, Nisha, bete, I can't. Ranjan is on Facebook. So yes, Ranjan, I will switch on my video. Right. So Ranjan puts a WhatsApp to me that I should not be Mr. India, but that's okay. Right. Any other questions? Thank you, Sujoy, for coming in at very short notice. Very short notice.
Thank you.
So that sets the tempo. Back to action, dear colleagues. This has been an amazing session of application. Abhishek ji explained how he has applied. Sujoy ji came at very short notice and also said, how do you encourage top management to perform and align yourself with goals? Challenges will come and go. That is what business is all about. But if you can align yourself to employees and employees align themselves to the organization, I think we can conquer. Thank you very much, Sujoy. Thank you, dear Abhishek. God bless. Right, really good presentation. Absolutely amazing. Right, I think there is somebody who's put something on the chat. Thank you, sir. Okay, thank you. Advait says thank you, sir, to both of you all. Thank you. Any closing comments? Sujoy ji, Abhishek ji? Right.
First, this is my first professional discussion platform. I have taken classes. I usually take classes for chartered accountants who are pursuing chartered accountancy course. So it's a very small set of people who want to pursue their examinations this November. So I take a little bit opportunity to impart my knowledge to them. That is very basic, which is very easy to do presentations or teach them. But when you are speaking in front of a learned guide like Anil sir, I was actually shivering like hell. I have to be very honest with you. I don't know how I maintain my tempo of speaking, but I was really shivering. But thanks for the opportunity, sir. It was very great. Actually, you gave me a support like anything, and you gave me a new life. I would say say that. So this is a stepping stone for my success. So thanks a lot for this opportunity, sir. I'm very grateful to you.
Thank you, Abhishek. Namaste to you also. You are absolutely natural. Thank you, dear colleagues. Thank you, Shanti ma'am. We meet on Sunday for a cyber security session. Thank you again, CA Abhishek ji, and thank you, Sujoy ji. God bless.
Thank you. Thank you, Anil sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, all of you all. Thank you, dear partner.
Thank you, Anil sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.